communication and interaction with those around us. Especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, everything was shifted to digital from school activities, work, shopping, to entertainment. We all rely on technology to stay connected with others and meet our daily needs. Although the pandemic has ended, it seems that our dependence on technology to carry out our daily activities continues. People seem comfortable utilizing technology to make their work easier, manage their time more efficiently, reduce paper usage by shifting to digital formats, and to shop for grocery through e-commerce to save money, energy, and time. With all the benefit we get from technology, there are certainly some negative impacts that arise from our dependence on it, which has changed many ways in which we socialize. The massive decrease in effort that technology-supported interaction provides has led many to reduce physical contact with others, giving birth to issues such as social isolation. But what exactly is social isolation? In today's podcast, we will dive deeper into the issue of social isolation. I'm Serena Zahra Raditya, host 1, and along with the other hosts, we will be with you today to share more about this issue. Hello and welcome to the Untold Voice, a space where untold stories finally find their place. This time we will be discussing a topic that is very close to the heart but often difficult to talk about, social isolation. Before we begin, let's welcome our guest today. Please introduce yourself.
Wait a moment, Sarah. Before they introduce themselves, I just want to say this topic isn't just about sadness. It is also about strange. Behind social isolation, there are stories of struggle, hope, and bravery that we rarely hear. So, to our guests, don't hesitate to share the voices that may have been hidden all this time.
Exactly, Jihan. We're not just here to listen to stories. We're here to understand the feelings behind them. What made you feel isolated? How did you cope with it? We're ready to listen without judgment and with open hearts.
Yes, we are here to listen to take your time.
So, first of all, how is everybody doing nowadays? What are you guys up to?
I'm doing well so far, just working on an exam project lately.
Glad to hear that and good luck on your exam. And how are you doing lately, Kenzie and Taba?
Same with Jihan. I'm also busy doing exam projects this month.
I'm pretty much the same as everyone else is stressing out about the exam.
Yes, this month is the final exam season. And I know you're all busy working on your final projects, but there's no need to stress. We all have to keep the spirit and be strong because after this we have a long holiday. That's the reward for all of our hard work. Okay, so in today's topic, we're going to talk about social isolation, which we mentioned a bit earlier in the introduction. Why has this issue emerged in society today?
That's right. We will also explore stories, experiences, and solutions from people who have faced social isolation.
Maybe Jihan can explain what's the definition of social isolation is, so our listener can be better understanding the context.
From what I've read and learned, social isolation is an objective condition where an individual has little to no involvement in social relationships and group activities. It is related to loneliness, which is a subjective condition where an individual feels dissatisfied with the quantity and quality of their social relationships.
So people who experience social isolation have a reduced ability to interact with others, right? And as you mentioned, loneliness is a subjective internal state. But does someone who feels lonely always experience social isolation?
As mentioned before, loneliness is a subjective condition where the individual personal definition of elements related to the condition factor into the occurrence and intensity of the condition. Therefore, you can live alone and not feel lonely, and you can feel lonely even when you are with others. It is also possible for both conditions to simultaneously occur.
So loneliness and social isolation are two different things. Is it possible that one of you has experienced social isolation based on what we've explained earlier? Or maybe you just feel lonely? Maybe you can start with Jihan's story.
Yes, discussing this reminds me of the time in middle school during my junior year when I struggled to adapt. My parents had to move to a rural area in West Java for work, and of course, I went with them. I didn't speak Japanese fluently, only understood bits and pieces. When I started at a new school in an unfamiliar place with different culture, I didn't blend it well with my new classmates. and they didn't pay much attention to me because most of the students were neighbors or childhood friends. My parents were also busy with work, so I spent most of the time alone, distracting myself with social media or playing games. I didn't have trouble with my studies, but I withdrew from everyone. After a year, my teacher noticed and spoke to my parents about my lack of social interaction. That's when my parents taught me how to speak Japanese and emphasized the importance of socializing. After that, I started conversation and soon I became good friends with everyone.
Wow, your story carries so many lessons. Even if we don't have friends, it doesn't mean we have to withdraw from our surroundings. We need to keep socializing and interacting with the people around us. Okay, so that's Jihan's story. Now let's move on to Kenzie's story.
I didn't have any specific experience with social isolation, but I've seen people who have experienced it. I had a neighbor who had just moved into our area, and she rarely socialized with or played with other neighbors. We also rarely see them out of the house. Only their first child goes to school. But even though they are very individual, my mother still tries to chat with her whenever she passes by that neighbor. After chatting, she found out that our neighbor is a single mother who has 3 children. 2 of them are still very young, and she works from home, which is why she rarely leaves the house and interacts with other neighbors. And if she has free time, she prefers to stay at home and watch her favorite TV shows or just simply surf on social media. She kept to herself, and we could tell that she was kind of distant. Over time, some of the neighbors tried to talk to her and into her in various activities, but it was clear that she was isolating herself. It's interesting how some people choose to be isolated, while others end up in that situation by circumstance.
That's an interesting point, Kenzie. Some people choose isolation, while others end up in it due to circumstances, as you mentioned. And that's Kenzie's story. How about you, Taba? Do you have any thought on this?
Yeah, I agree with Kenzie. I've also seen people struggle with social isolation, especially those who have personality or are facing personal challenges. It's tough for them to open up, and some of them give up trying to engage with society due to various problems that occurred and previous experience that made them feel that it would be easier to isolate themselves and entertain their solitude with social media and technology until recently over social isolation and loneliness, including among adolescents and older people with neglected social determinants of health in some countries. This problem have started to be considered pressing public policy and public health issue. The COVID-19 pandemic and the attended physical distancing measures have ensured the silence of this topic, but with the right support and encouragement, they can break out of that isolation. So, if you notice signs of social isolation, try to talk to people close to you about your problem, and it's better if you seek for a personal help, or if you see people around you experiencing it, try to give them more attention and support that they need, and also it will be better if you help with them to counseling to the professional.
Exactly, and what's important is that we don't ignore the signs of social isolation in those around us. Whether we are talking about friends, family, or even strangers, we should all try to reach out and support each other. Social isolation and loneliness have serious consequences for longevity, health, and well-being. In older age, social isolation and loneliness increase the risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, diabetes, cognitive decline, dementia, depression, and anxiety. They also shorten lives and reduce the quality of life. Life transition and disruptive life events such as retirement, loss of a spouse, partner, or friends, migration of children or migration to join children, and disability or loss of mobility, which are more likely to affect older people, put them at particular risk. This discussion has been really eye-opening, and I hope it's helpful to our listener as well.
Yes, reaching out and showing that you care can make a huge difference for someone going through isolation. It doesn't have to be a big gesture. Sometimes just a small act of kindness can help.
Definitely. Social isolation can be tough, but it doesn't have to be permanent. It's all about taking the first step to connect.
Absolutely. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts and stories today. And to our listener, remember you're not alone. If you or someone you know is experiencing social isolation, don't hesitate to reach out for support. Stay connected, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next episode of The Untold Voice. Goodbye.
Goodbye.